Successful small and medium-sized businesses are the backbone of the Australian economy, but it's a sad fact that a large percentage of new enterprises fail, frequently resulting in heartache and financial problems for the business owners. One of the main reasons this happens is the lack of time spent considering the feasibility of your ideas before business startup. You'd have to admit that investing 8 to 10 hours planning a project must be better than risking thousands of dollars and possibly wasting 3 to 5 years of your life on a business that had no chance of success from the start. So you're thinking of going into business. I've had over 30 years experience in helping people examine the potential of their new ventures. By working through the exercises provided on this DVD, you'll be able to make some informed decisions about your own future direction and gain the most benefit from the support networks available to you. What is a feasibility study? Why bother with it? A feasibility study involves you spending some time and effort in talking, reading and gathering good information. You then put the information together in a systematic way so that it makes sense. From there, it's possible to make rational decisions on whether to start the business or not. And all this work can be done without spending very much money at all. In short, it's a first step. You must be prepared to talk to lots of people and to read books, magazines and papers about starting a business. Thinking about starting a business can be a confusing process. It's not easy to assess the risks and benefits of something that will become a major part of your life for a number of years into the future. If your thinking is not guided and systematic, then the risks of business failure will be increased dramatically. Experience shows that there are several important decisions that you need to make before starting in business, and those decisions need to be based on some sound financial and market information. This presentation leads you through the steps needed to make good decisions about whether or not to go into business. It may be that you decide not to start the particular business. It may be that you decide to start the business when you have more money saved or when you have more knowledge or skill in management. It may be that the time is right now, the opportunities are present and the risks for you are at their lowest. If the indications are that it's worthwhile to go ahead, the information in this DVD will provide the background for the development of a comprehensive business plan. Once you've decided to go ahead with your business, you must think about the equipment and stock you'll need to operate it. You may already have some equipment that you can use, or you may have to purchase various items. Also consider the likely cost recovery on the equipment and stock should you decide not to continue. The auction value will give you a reasonable estimate to work on if you allow for the auctioneer's fees, which are around about 16%. We've suggested a few items here, but complete your own list in the workbook. Then there are establishment costs, money you need to spend that you have no real hope of recovering if the business is not successful. This involves such things as stationery, accounting fees and sign writing. There's an extensive list in the workbook, but add or delete items relevant to your enterprise. Ask a business advisor for help if you're unsure what these items might cost. As your planning progresses, you should speak to a financial organisation or an accountant to discuss the various ways you could finance the capital equipment. Try to get as accurate a picture of your likely operating expenses as you can. You'll need to seek advice, gather information and get quotations and prices from suppliers. The list provided in the workbook is not complete. Talk to a business advisor about your particular business idea. Use the blank spaces for items specific to your own business, but don't include stock purchases, depreciation or loan repayments. Total all these items up, then add 5% to the total figure to allow for some things that you might have forgotten. This gives your annual estimated operating expenses. When you feel you've completed your best estimate of expenses, try to arrange to compare your expected expenses with the average for your industry. Your business advisor or accountant should have access to benchmarks for your industry. If you're able to study a Form 2 for a similar business that's for sale, it can also provide some useful information. But remember, every business is unique and you should get accurate quotations relevant to your own business for as many expenses as possible. How many months of business operation do you think it will take before the operating expenses and stock purchases are fully covered by the sales? If you estimate it will take 4 months, then divide the annual estimated operating expenses by 3. You should have this amount of working capital in hand at the start of the business. Now, add the working capital figure, the once-off costs, and the equipment and stock figures to provide a total estimated capital figure at the business start. How much of this figure will you provide from your own savings? How much would you prefer to borrow? What security can you offer to a lender? Is it best at this time to defer your business start until you can save more money? Profit is necessary for the survival of the business, but what exactly are you going to do with the profit? This section of your feasibility study aims to set an adequate profit target and then determine the level of sales you'll need to achieve that. If you want to upgrade your plant and equipment or expand the business, where will the money come from? You could borrow it, lease the equipment, or as many small businesses do, reinvest the profits. From the profit you make in running your business, you'll want to take out money to live on. But there are other things that must be deducted from the profit before you can have your slice. If the business is profitable, then income tax will be payable, regardless of what you do with the profit. For example, even if you're reinvesting it. If you've established the business using borrowed funds, then you'll need to repay the lender in accordance with your contract. The repayment of business loans is made up of 2 components. The principal, which is repaid from profit, and the interest cost, which is an expense. Once you've dealt with these commitments, you should then put aside funds for future replacement of worn equipment, future expansion of your business, cover for bad debts, updating of equipment to keep pace with current technology, and an allowance for inflation. Finally, you can consider some reward for your own time and effort in the business, return for the funds you've invested, and you should also make some allowance for the risk of investment. Consider this: you're investing your time and say $20,000 into a venture. Is a 15% return adequate for your time, investment and risk, or would you rather leave your money in a bank and earn 6%, since you wouldn't have to work for it and your money is relatively safe?